Escape Climbing, and today I'm really excited to introduce the new Storm series. So this is the new lineup in the Escape line, and it is super cool. There's kind of a bunch of different hold types in here. So we've got some jugs, lots of mostly pinches, and kind of a slopey pinch like that. So starting off, it is all dual texture, and it's some of our best dual texture we've ever put out. I don't know if you can tell, I'll probably do it close in here, but like it is very reflective. So we brought it to a really high gloss, and it looks great. Size-wise, we start at the Emperor size here. It's very big. This one's a pretty slopey hold. You can see it's not that high profile, it's pretty low profile. Kind of slopey, it's got a bit more of a jug on this and a bit more of a jug on this side. But you end up with like really slopey in the middle. I would say it's pretty hard to climb on other than maybe like a bit of an overhang, maybe a 10, 15 degree overhang will get really hard. But again, like putting that on a big volume or using that like coming over a lip is a really great option because it has such a big surface area in there. So that's the Emperor. Then we go to the King, which is much more high profile, big jug. You can see we've been climbing on it a lot. I got a lot of chalk on it. This is kind of one of the big points on the project we put on the wall. So this is cool because you really have to get up and around it to get to the jug portion. So really it's like a big slopey jug. There's a couple different ways that I like to set this. So you can even set it upside down, and it's got this large kind of swooping feature there that you can really rock up onto. You can I set a problem where you kind of planted a heel and then you're really rocking up onto that heel, kind of mantling on. So that's super cool. This is the King again. So then kind of got a little discombobulated here. So we have a couple queens here. So we actually have two different queens with two sets each, maybe. So this is the Queen 2, and this is also the Queen 2. So these are going to be a lot more high-profile queens. Again, they're great pinches, still slopey, and this is still pretty wide, but they are really good to hold on to, and they're high-profile, so they're more of a jug. Then we've got the Queen 1, let me see, which are these ones, which are the super jugs. So you can see like that, you get your full hand behind it in there. It is still slopey, so similar to our King over here, you still have to get up and around it. So it's really easy to like force some movement where you have to go a little bit up or all the way into the hold when you're going for a big one like that. Same thing on this one, like we have the King. You've got this texture spot in the bottom. So really cool to be able to like force an undercling and then rock up onto it. You can do some other stuff where you're like pressing into it as well to get on top of it. So that is really cool with this one. Again, this Queen 1 has two holds in it as well. I believe it's the Queen 1. Yep. And this one is also a pretty good jug. Other than that, we're going all the way down to sizes. So Queens, then we've got the Prince, which has three holds in it. The set. These are pretty slopey, not really gonna be able to pinch them at all because they're so wide. Maybe you can pinch that one, but very wide, and then really have to get all the way over it to get a little bit of that edge to bite into it there. A couple things I like about these, and kind of has this throughout the set, is it's not just like a ball from a sloper. It really has like kind of a shallow, little bit of a spot to land, a little bit of a flat spot to land your hands. So you can kind of search around on it and find that best spot you really gotta crank off of. You know, if it's just a real sloper like this where you don't have any spot like that, it's gonna be a lot harder, but this provides just a spot where you can really kind of crimp or edge into it almost, while also using it as a sloper, which makes it really cool. So those are the Princes. Then we're gonna go, we've got a double XL. These are again a little bit more pinchy, still really slopey, and I would say these are they're really fun to set with. They're pretty hard to climb on. For some, it's good for setting like, especially on volumes and stuff like that. The texture is very nice. So dual texture is nice, and also the texture is one of my favorites. It's an added texture on there. But this is, so that is the XXL, but they were pretty nice. So you can set them in a couple different ways. So you can set them where this is going to be a lot easier to climb on because this is more of a jug versus, you know, this size is going to be a lot slopier, a lot harder to get on something like an overhang. And then we're going to go XXL. Then we've got just our regular XL. These are getting smaller and they're kind of getting a little bit shallower. So some of these holds are going to be great for climbing on slab. It's fun because you can use them in a couple different ways. Again, you can pinch them, there's texture on both sides. They're really low profile too, so kind of pressing into them is also great with these holds. So that is our XL. We've got the large, actually might have been a large here. Yeah, so this is the large, this is the XLs here. And then we don't have a medium in this set, but we do have the smalls. And these are really, really fun to climb on. They're like a little bit of an edge, a slopey edge, but they all have a little bit of a bite in them at some point. So you can see it kind of like swoops down and then comes back up. So it has a tiny bit of a bite. You can really like get your pads on there. Most of everything else is mostly pinchy, though the Emperor doesn't have a pinch portion of it. Only one of the, or two of the large, two of the small holds have a bit of a pinch, and they're really low profile, so they're going to be a little bit difficult to use. But yeah, this is the Storm series. We've been working on it for a long time, and we're super excited to introduce it to you. So yeah, you can check it out at our website at escapeclimb.com. Thanks.